VILLEMINOT, who's joined us on set. Hi, Florence. Cyprus, no surprise there, is getting a lot of attention in the international press. What's the Wall Street Journal saying?
Well, it's taking a look at that crux point, which was that unprecedented tax on depositors that drew such widespread criticism. Well, the Wall Street Journal says that Cyprus has rejected this tax, risking a bailout deal. Now, The Independent points out that one person who might be breathing a sigh of relief is actually the president, Nikos Anastasiadis. Now, even though it was his idea to implement this tax,
people who have money in Cypriot banks.
Yes, and because he's one of them, actually. And the Independent points out that he has personal assets that are reportedly in the millions of euros, so he would have been hit by this levy. For instance, they point out that he has bank deposits over 700,000 euros, meaning that over 70,000 euros would have been appropriated by the state if Parliament had passed this controversial law. Now, foreign investors are also probably sighing.
He had actually approved the package, by the way.
He had approved the package.
It's lawmakers who refused it.
That's right. It's the lawmakers who refused it. But other groups that are happy that this didn't go through are foreign investors who have a lot of money there, especially Russians. Nearly a quarter of all bank deposits in Cyprus belong to Russia. And there's a funny cartoon in the International Herald Tribune by Shapat today that points out that, well, many people say that Russia was actually laundering money through these Cyprus banks. And you see a Russian tycoon there with his very classy girlfriend on the phone saying, "Vladimir, the washing machine is broken." Haha.
And moving on to another top story today, President Barack Obama's visit to Israel, not a lot of enthusiasm in the press, and that mirrors the situation in Israel and the West Bank, in fact.
Absolutely, and if you look at the Independent today, you see some photos of both Israeli and Palestinian children eagerly anticipating Obama's visit, but it seems that they're probably the most enthusiastic people waiting for his trip. Slate, for instance, today says that this trip is one big mistake for Obama, and it laments the fact that Obama is sucking up to Israel when there's so many more important things going on in the region. For instance, Iran's accelerating nuclear program, the gruesome civil war in Syria, a dicey political situation in Egypt, and on top of that, Slate says that Benjamin Netanyahu has behaved terribly with Obama. He's insulted him, he backed Mitt Romney, he's been stalling the peace process, so Slate says this is a big waste of time and a big waste of public money for Obama. HAARETZ, the Israeli paper, is also not very enthusiastic about Obama's visit. It says that he's come to say goodbye, and it says that during his visit, Obama is actually probably going to be acting more like a tourist than anything, and this attests to Washington's strategic choice, which it says is to neglect the Middle East peace process. And it says that that's not the only thing that Obama is neglecting these days. He fled the conflict in Iraq. He's fleeing the conflict in Afghanistan. He's ignoring the civil war in Syria. He's treating Egypt like a, quote, homeless person lying on the threshold of Bank of America, just giving a little bit of emergency aid and a pat on the back. Basically, all this absence of strategy is actually a strategy, according to HAARETZ. Little by little, Washington is withdrawing into itself.
And a lot of papers are reacting to the 10-year anniversary of the U.S.-led invasion in Iraq.
That's right. There's a cartoon in China Daily which compares the situation 10 years ago. You see that famous toppled statue of Saddam Hussein and a very proud U.S. flag, and 10 years later, the situation is a lot worse. The flag
cobwebs
is
on the statue.
No,
the
cobwebs, and the flag is in terrible shape. Now, most of the articles I read today have agreed that the U.S.-led invasion was a terrible idea, except for one article I pulled out of the Wall Street Journal by Fouad Ajami. Now, he's a fellow at Stanford University, and he has always been a staunch defender of Operation Iraqi Freedom. And he says that 10 years ago, an honorable war began. He said there's no way of writing a convincing alternative to the situation. Basically, there was a moral imperative to save the Iraqis. And if we just take a quick look at Gulf News, they ask the key question, which is, 10 years later, has the U.S. learned the lesson from the Iraqi war? And it says that, well, for now, the question remains open.
All right, Florence VILLEMINOT with a review of the international press. Thank you very much. All right, stay tuned to France 24. We've got more news coming up in just a few moments after this short break.